You're staring out and jails. You have to speak up, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. And Charles Nicholas Sr. and Charles Nicholas Jr. Yes. On July 18th, which is 6 days ago, last Friday, this court was in court session on the case of Stephen Angel as a defendant in a murder case, and the jury had returned a verdict finding the defendant.
So let's pause here. Guilty of murder. A verdict alone sets the courtroom on edge. But trust me, what happens next? It's like tossing gasoline on a bonfire. You won't believe how fast things spiral. Buckle up.
Guilty of murder. It was about lunchtime. We broke for lunch, and I ordered the jury to return back and the parties to return back after lunch to begin the punishment phase of the trial. While we were in that phase, Mr. Grove and the parties were exiting the courtroom. Mr. Grove, David Grove, one of our public defenders, was proceeding immediately into a hearing that we were conducting on a plea. And what was the case, David? Do you remember the defendant's name?
Oh, sir.
Okay. Because you do a lot of them here. Everybody gets one of these. You got one of these. You give this to Mr. Andrew. And as the parties were exiting, Mr. Grove was beginning to get this plea underway, and then we were breaking for lunch and we were going to return back. The jury was just exiting here at the doorway. The court heard voices, loud voices. There was a slamming and bumping up against the door. The bailiffs rushed out to take care of what was obviously a disturbance going on.
Whoa. A courtroom recess turns into chaos at the courthouse doors. Here's a question for you. Should emotions ever spill over in a court of law, especially in high-stakes murder cases? Drop your thoughts below.
The courthouse door, and the court had to terminate in the middle of the hearing and postpone that for a later time as we were resolving what the disturbance was. So the court walked out and then saw 3 individuals being arrested, and these were family members of the Stephen Angel case matter, people who were involved, victim, defendant, related, 3 people related to the parties. The court, in just a matter of minutes, actually received a copy of the video of the proceeding. There was a camera right over our doorway, and I looked at that, and it was plain to see what had happened, where 3 people, the parties involved in this matter, had gotten into a confrontation, and shoving and the throwing of fists were part of a fight that was going on. Involved was Charles David Nicholas Sr., Charles David Nicholas Jr., and Staren Anel. Unfortunately, these are Mr. Angel is related to the defendant, and then the Nicholases are related to the deceased in the murder case involving Stephen Angel that the court was in the middle of and had just received a verdict. So the court brought the individuals in because the court was in a multitude of important matters at the time. We could not fully conduct a hearing on that matter, but the court reviewed and is following the Court of Criminal Appeals decision in 1987, ex parte Daniels of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, which is quite similar in issues and facts to the issues in this matter of contempt, as the court ordered them to be presented to immediately come before the court, and the court orally charged them, the three individuals, with contempt. And the issue became, is it direct contempt or constructive contempt? That is, direct contempt or indirect. Direct contempt occurs when it occurs in the presence of the court. Indirect is a matter that occurs outside the presence of the court, but in each case, disruptive behavior, committing a crime, failing to follow a court order, all of those are part of the equation. That
This is where legal nerds lean in. The distinction between direct and indirect contempt is crucial. Direct contempt? Judge sees it, bam, action. Indirect. That needs a whole legal process. So where do you think a hallway fight fits in?
the court has at its disposal in dealing with matters to ensure that the court's business is conducted in a civilized, peaceful, lawful fashion. The big question, the big issue here on this case is direct contempt versus indirect contempt. Direct contempt involves behavior which occurs in the presence of the court. The court was sitting where it is now, on this bench, in this chair, and the people in the court had been recessed on the murder case on Mr. Angel for lunch, and we were return afterwards to pick up the punishment phase. And at the doorway, the court, as people were leaving the court, then was, as Mr. Grove was beginning his plea with his client, the court heard loud noises, shouting, banging on the door. The bailiffs in my court exited quickly and moved toward the noise and exited, and this hearing had to be stopped. So it interrupted the court's hearing that was being held with Mr. Grove and his client. But yet, the court went outside and saw these three individuals being detained by law enforcement. The court saw some jurors watching from a vantage point not far. I noticed some of the jurors were watching and from that murder case, and then they left. There was damage to the chairs outside the courtroom, and then the court brought the three individuals here today, Mr. Nicholas, and Mr. Angel, and then spoke to them about their actions, which this court deemed to be disruptive and in contempt. The court had also, within just a few minutes, 5-10 minutes of the event, received a copy of the recording, the camera recording of the scuffle, and this court picks up from when the parties were leaving this courtroom at the doorway, and then this court saw, even though there's no audio to it, the court saw the confrontation begin, then turned shoving and punch throwing. And then authorities intervened quickly. But at the conclusion of all of this, what had happened is this court's business was disrupted. The scuffle is occurring at the doorway of the courtroom. Jurors of this case were in the vicinity and could see what was going on. This is bad in many different ways, and this isn't the way the rules of procedure and the rules of handling matters in this courthouse are supposed to be handled. So, to preserve the Court of Criminal Appeals, the highest court in criminal cases for Texas, has stated that to preserve order in a courtroom for the proper conduct of business, the court must act instantly to suppress disturbances or violence or physical obstructions or disrespect to the court when occurring in open court. And there is no need of evidence or assistance of counsel before this court can exercise its enforcement and punish those who are disrupted. And this is all concerning the dignity of the court and the authority that is necessary for us to resolve issues in a nonviolent, higher educational level method that the justice system is supposed to be a part of. Now, the question becomes whether this occurred in the presence of the court. And this court decision, ex parte Daniel, 722 Southwest 2nd, 707, which is a 1987 case, a decision by the Court of Criminal Appeals in Bonk, that is, the whole court made this decision because they felt it was important that all the judges be heard in the matter. And the issue became, did it happen in the presence of the court? If it's in the presence of the court, I can deal with it immediately, or I can postpone it like I've done and deal with it later. But in that special scenario, that's called a direct contempt proceeding, which the parties do not need a lawyer, aren't required to have a lawyer. This court can deal with it as soon as it's expedient. If it's not in the presence of the court, then it becomes what's called civil contempt, which still can be punitive, but in civil contempt, the parties are allowed an opportunity to hire a lawyer and can deal with it at a subsequent time. However, this was a very a case that occurred dramatically similar to the situation here. The question becomes, what does the in the presence of the court mean? And the Court of Criminal Appeals ruled this way. The presence of the court does not necessarily mean in the immediate presence of the trial judge. The judge has, the court has held that the court is present, and things happen in the presence of the court whenever any of its constituent parts, the courtroom, the jury room, or the doorway, are involved in, or all involved in the work of the court. And it is for this determination and reason that the courts have held that you can be committed to direct contempt proceedings when someone is just placing publications, contemptuous publications, in the corridors of the courthouse where prospective jurors would necessarily see them. mean, that's the far range aspect of how this court can have authority. We're not talking about people setting publications in the corridors of the courthouse that might affect jurors. What we had here was a fight going on at the doorway of this courtroom after the court had just immediately received a verdict finding the defendant guilty, and relations, people related to the defendant and the victim, were scuffling, and in the midst of an assault, it also interrupted the proceedings that the court was holding with Mr. Grove and his client, which had to be postponed and then were disposed of at a later time. And then the court also lost its bailiffs that are required to be present at all times in this courtroom during its business, as they went out to immediately stop the scuffle and deal with the problem that it was having to deal with. So, what this means altogether is this works just as though y'all had fought in front of me. And because we had that murder case, and then we went into another murder case and just completed that second murder case last night, I've asked the parties to come before the court. The court, because it was having to deal with those more important matters at the time, did bring the parties present, then postponed further proceedings. But it's the court's finding that these are direct contempt proceedings, and this court can make its decision. Did anybody stay in court, in jail overnight? Mr. Angel, how long were you in jail? Before you posted it on?
Yeah, about 2 o'clock
A few hours?
overnight, and the next
It was overnight?
couple hours.
What about y'all,
About 7.
sir?
About 7 o'clock that night.
That night, okay. But y'all were arrested, brought to jail, and then the damage done by this ridiculous behavior is ended up costing $519.26 to the people of the taxpayers.
The judge isn't mincing words. This wasn't just a scuffle. This was a full-blown disruption of justice in front of jurors right after a murder verdict. The timing couldn't be worse. The fallout. You're about to see the hammer drop.
Of Jefferson County. So each of you are going to pay your part. That's $175 each. Everybody, you, Mr. Angel, and Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Nicholas, you will be ordered to pay restitution to Jefferson County. The taxpayers, Jefferson County, the county treasurer had to buy the new equipment that is now placed out there. You will be ordered to pay that. Do you understand, everybody? When can y'all pay that?
Pay today.
How about you, Mr. Angel? How much time do you need?
The taxpayers want to implicate them.
Now, I'm not
Taxpayers-
implicating them. They're getting paid back for the
Right, and listen, the taxpayers' time is not only cash. Money is not only cash, but time is money. And money is time. If I feel they can get that back from me through time.
You're still going to pay the restitution. You understand?
However,
Okay. Each of you will be ordered to serve 3 days in jail. 3 days in jail. Does everybody understand? Everybody understand? It's and ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $175. And you'll be given. You've already served 1 day. I give credit for 1 day for each of you. So, when can y'all begin the service?
And I started, can I turn myself in tomorrow?
Sir?
I turn myself in tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
I just started school this week.
Yes, sir. That's just 2 more days. 2 more days. When can you go, Mr. Angel?
today,
All right. And
I need to go on the job.
yes, sir. Okay. All right. Do that and let me know, and then we'll work with y'all. Also, a part of the judgment, again, each person pays $175. That was put into the equation, so the court decided you didn't need to do 6 months. But the taxpayers, we all, including you, all of us are taxpayers one way or the other in this county. But we all pay our part. When tax revenue, assets are damaged, the person responsible for it, people responsible need to pay back for the people. So the court will order each of you to pay $175, and you get if everybody's credited for 1 day, 2 more days at the at on a time that y'all can work with. And we need to know again, Mr. Nicholas, on you, you're going to. Mr. Angel says he's going to turn himself in on or before 6 o'clock today.
Oh, I'm taking from here.
Well, do you want to turn? You get credit for the day, but you don't. You can stay out until 6.
How do we do this?
Okay, but on or before 6 o'clock. Yeah, your word's good enough. And what about Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Nicholas? Okay, tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. And
6 o'clock.
then you'll. That just gives you 2 more days. But please, and also, when y'all going to pay this restitution back? You said today.
I can pay it right now.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure how that.
Because I'm not quite sure
I think that
we collect the money. I'm going to have to make some phone calls.
I think the jail normally does that. Don't the jail collect on restitution when they're?
I don't think so.
No, the jail doesn't collect any money, and I can't take any money on behalf of the court. I'm going to have to make some phone calls. If everyone can just hang tight and we figure out how we can get the money from.
Yeah, let's figure that out because this is kind of unusual, and so we get it done right. Okay.
So if everyone can just hang tight for about an hour, let me try to figure out how to get that and get the paperwork done for them.
Okay,
And,
you can work on that right now.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Just hang loose. Not an hour. Just about 20 minutes. We ought to have an answer. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
I'll probably do that to you.
That's all right. That's all right. It's tough for everybody. But every case I've had 600 jury trials. 600 I've presided over. It's hard on everybody. But the worst thing we have is to have show violence here in the courthouse when we're trying to resolve problems in a modern, sophisticated way. Now, people aren't always happy with the way things happen, but it's under rules. The rules of evidence. I help write the rules. The rules of evidence, the Code of Criminal Procedure. There's rules. We're not cavemen that go out there and just seek our own way of justice. I mean, it's under rules, or it would be chaos. And we've developed it because that's why we're the leading country on the planet. People want to be like us in the way we resolve problems. This building is filled with problems that we're having to resolve, and a lot of it is very emotional. And nobody can appreciate it. Everybody needs to know. I was in the United States Attorney's Office. I was United States Attorney 20 years before this, and then here going on 20 years. And James Byrd trial. Now I'm right in the middle of that, prosecuting that. You want to talk about emotion? Emotion is nothing. Was more has impacted my life and this country than what happened in the James Byrd matter. But how did we dispose of it? How did we resolve it? We didn't just go out and just start fighting and disrupting and seeking immediate justice. We did it in an orderly fashion. And at the end of the day, people were executed under rules of order. Mr. Bird didn't get that. I mean, he was brutally murdered for no reason except for his race.
Let's talk damage. $519.26 may not sound like much, but the symbolism, huge. The court is sending a message loud and clear. If you disrupt the process, you will literally pay the price. Actions have consequences, even emotional ones.
And yes, one of the rules. We're all in this together, all of us. We all look different, unique. We're all unique people, all of us. But we're also fellow Americans and citizens that have to live together, not only in this planet, but in this country, and deal with our problems. All of us have problems, every one of us. There's no perfection in it, but we've got the thing we have that's important is we have each other that we try to get along with, because we're stronger when we work as a team, as a unit, all shapes, sizes, and colors. And these are emotional things that occur. But when we lose our focus and then resort to violence, then the rules aren't applicable, and people get hurt, and it's a bad example, and it's certainly not anything that we want this courthouse and our county to be known for. It's known for justice, and that's the kind of thing that it was meant to be. Just when something bad like that happens with James Byrd, you don't just take it into your own hands. Work it deliberately under the rules and make sure that justice is served. That's what the Attorney General ordered me to do. Is see that justice is done and make sure that those people are held accountable and fairness, but justice is served. Yes, I think I saluted that lady because she was that kind of lady. She was a general, but it works. I've seen it work. I know how it works. And when something like this happens, that's just a bad example of the set. But yeah, I've been upset. Everybody loses composure. You have lost composure. Okay, we're fixing this. We move on. We do better. Get this behind us and be the best we can be. Anything else? All right, let's live together. Try to live together and work through this, because we've got winners and losers, victims all the way around. But put everything back together and move forward as best we can, peaceably. Right? Yeah, everybody. That's what's wrong. And here we got families. Y'all know each other. And like I said, my grandmother, my grandparents, my dad grew up about a block or two from where this happened. That's why I was over there all the time. I played in Gillum Circle all growing up as a little big kid. And it's not supposed to be a place where there's 88 people shoot 88 times in the residence area in a neighborhood. It's supposed to be stand for something better than that. People go to live together peaceably as best we can with all our differences. Still, we're fellow human beings and fellow citizens. All right.
And here's the deeper takeaway. This judge isn't just enforcing rules. He's preaching unity, dignity, and respect in the face of unimaginable grief and rage. So here's the big question. In a system built on rules, can justice ever feel truly fair?